Alright, so this is the first unit in the AP Chem course. Basically in this unit we're just going to go over what the basic skills that you really need to have for this class. And that includes, how to set up a lot of math problems that we use, and also how to write and name compounds. Those are very essential skills and they're pretty much involved in every aspect of this course. So if at any time you feel lost, please make sure you ask questions, because these skills are very important for you to know to really master the content as we go. Alright, so first thing, chemistry is the science that deals with matter and the changes it undergoes. So it varies from everything to your metabolism to an explosion. Alright, chemistry is pretty much involved in every aspect of science. It is really the central science. So if you're looking at biology, pretty much all biological concepts are defined by chemistry concepts. All of the enzymes that you guys have in your body, all of the reactions that happen in your body are they're chemistry reactions. So everything really does depend on chemistry. So I consider it more of a hard science and not a soft science. So when we look at any type of matter, matter has different types of properties. It has physical properties and it has chemical properties. Physical properties can basically just be observed by looking at it or taking a measurement. So if you weigh it, if you measure it with a ruler, those are all physical properties. So it could be color, the odor, the density, the hardness. Is it soluble in water or not? Is it soluble in oil? The melting point, the boiling point, those are all physical properties because you can observe it or make a simple observation and then or measure it. So if you can do any of those things without changing what the substance is, that's a physical property. So remember that anytime that you melt something or boil something, that is not changing what it is. Now, a physical change would be something that does not change the substance. So anything that happens to that substance and it doesn't change what the substance is, that is a physical change. So I could cut your hair, I could cut a piece of paper, crumple it up, I could grind something. All those things change the substance or the form, but it doesn't change what it is. Phase changes are always physical changes. So if I melt something, I boil something, if I condense it back into a liquid, if I freeze it, all of those are physical changes because I'm not changing what the substance is, I'm just changing its form. So, just so that we have the vocab down, most of this if I take a solid and I turn it into a liquid, or if I do any of these things, these are different phase changes. So if I take a solid and I change it into a liquid, I'm melting it. If I take a liquid and turn it into a gas, I'm boiling it. If I take a gas and turn it back into a liquid, I'm doing the opposite of boiling, I'm condensing it. It's called condensation. If I take a solid and I turn it straight into a gas, which can happen, that happens with carbon dioxide, with dry ice, that's called sublimation. If I take a gas and convert it into a solid, that's called deposition or reverse sublimation. And then if I'd go from a liquid to a solid, that's freezing. So any of these physical changes involve energy. So if I go from a solid, if I go from a solid to a liquid, I need to add energy to that substance, because basically I need to separate the particles or the molecules out. So in order to do that, I have to add energy to it. And then if I go from a liquid to a gas, I'm again going to add more energy because I need to separate the molecules and the particles more. If I do the opposite, so if I take a gas and I remove energy by cooling it down, I can go back into a liquid. So anytime that you have a phase change, it involves a change in energy. And if you remember, a solid has less energy than a liquid and less energy than a gas. So a gas has more energy, liquid would have a little less, solid even less, okay? So for chemical properties, Those can be seen when you have a reaction happen, or even when you have no reaction happen. So basically you're just looking at, does it react to the substance or not? So chemical properties involve whether it's reactive to something else, whether it's corrosive, combustible. So basically, will it react with oxygen to make rust? Will it combust? So will it burn in oxygen gas to make other substances? Chemical changes will always change the substance. It will be something completely different after the reaction. All right, so here's some examples. So if I take a nail and I leave it out and it's a little bit wet, it starts reacting to the oxygen. That rust, that red stuff right here, that is a new substance. That's iron oxide. If I roast marshmallows, most baking processes or things that involve food, a lot of those things will be chemical changes. And you can even see, like, you've got a new substance here, and really what's happening is the sugar is burning. Yeah, so not so appetizing picture, but if you bleach your teeth, you are actually making a chemical reaction in your mouth by making the yellow stuff go away. All right, and that's just a brief little intro of what we're going to be talking about.